I bet you Rich has it. So Jim, and I asked Jim, it's our definition of the farm. I think
I checked beforehand.
I'm just giving you a heads up, we will be asked. And I'm not the only person who had that question. If you wanna look up anything on my laptop or iPad. Oh, I should have called you. I almost called you back. And I'm like, this is, I feel like, It's in our, yes, it is, and Jim is aware that this is an issue, because I called him and said, what's the difference between this? We saw last month, which was a house with accessories, with accessories, agriculture, right? Katie, let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. Ready? Okay, the East Amwell Township Planning and Zoning Board meeting will begin. It is August 19th, 2025. All rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the East Amwell Township Joint Planning and Zoning Board pursuant to the resolution adopted on January 21st, 2025. With a meeting notice sent to the Hunterdon Democrat on January 24th, 2025. A copy of the agenda for this meeting was posted on the municipal website, posted on the bulletin board, and filed in the clerk's office on August 14th, 2025. Mr. Catanacci?
Here.
Ms. Deadweiler?
Here.
Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Mr. Cadre is absent. Mr. Kohut?
Here.
Mr. Lathan?
Here.
Mr. McGovern?
Here.
Mr. Nardi?
Here.
Ms. Wiggum?
Here.
And Ms. Hussein?
Here.
Ms. Teresi is absent.
On the review of the agenda, the only thing I think that's changed is, will we be having the completeness hearing?
No.
No, okay, so there's a completeness hearing, if anyone's here for Energy Sun Farms, that will not be happening. So I think that's it on the review of the agenda. May I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved. Second.
Any objections? We are open to the public for items not on the agenda.
I'll find out whether this is appropriate. Robert Kirshner, 138 Boss Road, Stockton, New Jersey. I've been here before, familiar face. Can I speak to the Monahan resolution?
Well, it's on the agenda, I mean, but it's really not for public to,
It's
Consider.
not for public consideration.
so, I mean, if he wants to speak as a member of the public about it, but we're not gonna
Yeah, so
make a
you're,
statement.
you can make a statement, but it's not gonna change the resolution. The resolution is not for public,
Okay.
it's not a public hearing on the
Actually,
resolution.
I have a question. Previously, we talked at length about improprieties, and there was a wall that was built that has structures that comes off of the wall. And my question was whether this is in the resolution. The resolution is not public, so I don't know.
You can get a copy of the resolution under an Oprah request after
Right now, it's in draft form,
Yes.
so I
And
won't
it's gonna
know.
it's up for the board's consideration, and, it'll be available once it's adopted,
Okay, so
public review.
my question will be answered when the resolution is finalized.
Correct.
I don't know what your question is, but
Well, the question is whether or not the issue of the wall is in the resolution,
I'm sorry, yeah.
but that can't be addressed.
what I'm gonna say is that the retaining wall, the fact that it exists is described in the resolution, the fact that it's there, but that the retaining wall itself is not the subject of the resolution. It was a use variance request. That's what the application was. So if the use variance was denied, and if the retaining wall is being used for landscaping, then that can't be anymore. But that's not up to this board to enforce, that's the zoning officer.
The zoning officer, okay.
Yes, okay?
A-
So
and
the board does not take any kind of enforcement action about anything.
I understand the lay of the land, believe
Okay.
me, I do. Okay, I want to make an additional comment. I did meet with the zoning officer, and the zoning officer did a site visit to Mr. Monahan's property. It was at the request of his attorney. And we had a dialogue. Tammy and I spoke, and she didn't see any improprieties. The entire situation was staged. What Mr. Monahan is doing is he parks his vehicles at another site, and then they come over during the day, and they conduct business on his property.
Mr. Kirchner, I hear you, I understand you're frustrated, there's nothing this board can do, this is not in the jurisdiction of this board to act on that. It is between the zoning officer, if you have the zoning officer, I think is within the purview of the township committee, right? So this would be something you could take up with the township committee.
So
Zoning
what you're
officer
saying
cannot-
is up to the zoning officer to enforce the ordinance?
Yes, and
If I have concerns, where do I take them at this point?
Zoning officer.
to the zoning officer,
She'll review it, and if they're in violation, she'll issue a violation.
I could also speak to the township committee, in effect.
I would start with the zoning officer.
Yes.
If there's an issue and she feels there's a violation, she can cite them. If she looks at it and doesn't feel there's any issue and you don't agree, then I would go to the township committee.
I already met with the zoning officer. We don't agree. I have pictures on my phone, she didn't want to see them.
Yeah, we have-
haven't even.
we haven't even adopted this resolution yet,
Right.
so let us adopt the resolution, it
the
will become
resolution-
public. Go ahead,
Once
Mr.
the
Nardi.
resolution passes, then things can start going forward. So then the zoning officer can go out there and inspect the property, and then, if deemed, they can issue, a fine or a citation, things of that nature.
You're going to vote on the resolution tonight?
Yes.
Okay. And if Mr. Monahan wanted to appeal, he has 45 days from tonight, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Going once, going twice, we are closed to the public. Okay, next item on the agenda, we have 3 months of meeting minutes to approve. I think we'll take each month individually because some people probably weren't here for some of the meetings. Yeah. Do you want me to come back to that? So we can sort that out?
I'm thinking let's vote on all of them and I'll sort it out after, if that
So
works.
just, everyone votes on all, like,
Does that work?
Well, the ones that were here, right?
does that work? Is that okay? Because does anyone know, does anyone know if they weren't, what months they were here and weren't here?
I wasn't here last month,
Okay,
July.
so you weren't here in July, so, okay.
It's marked on the minutes who was here and
Okay.
who
Yeah,
wasn't.
It is.
So if you weren't there, don't vote on the minutes, okay? How's that?
Just
You weren't
say,
here?
just, you could, if you're voting on all 3 minutes at the
Yeah.
same time,
Okay, make
the-
this,
as it's going on, you're gonna ask for a roll call, right, on all this stuff? So each person can say, I'm voting in favor of, March or April, whatever the
Okay.
date is, but I'm abstaining from blah, blah date.
Okay.
okay,
that
thank
will
you.
work.
Let's make this easier. Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from May 20th, June 17th, and July 15th, 2025?
So moved.
Dante made a motion, may I have a
I'll
second?
second it.
Okay. May you
Roll
please
call.
take the roll?
Mr. Catanacci? Yes.
I believe I was here.
Yeah, if you were here.
Yep.
Ms. Deadweiler?
Yes, I was here for all 3 of them. I
Mr.
vote-
DePiero?
I believe I was present at all 3, and I
Yes.
vote yes.
Mr. Kadri?
He's not.
Oh, not absent. Mr. Cohen?
I
think you-
was absent from May 20, I was here from June 17 and July 15, and vote yes for those.
Okay. Mr. Lathan?
Yes, I was here for all 3.
McGovern?
I was not here for June, but I was here for May and July, and I'll vote yes and no.
All right, thanks. Mr. Nardi?
Yes.
Yes. And Ms. Wiggum, you weren't here for July, got that.
I vote yes on May and June,
Thanks.
abstain July.
Okay.
That everybody?
Do we need,
That's everybody, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for doing that. We're
It's a
making
lot-
progress,
lot of
right?
work.
Yep. Okay, resolution for approval. We have two tonight. First one is the Monahan resolution. This is for the use variance, which was denied on April 15th, 2025. Has everyone had a chance to review the resolution? Sharon, is there anything you want to say about it before I ask for a motion?
No.
No? Everyone had a chance to review it? Okay. May I have a motion to adopt the resolution related to, pertaining to the Monahan variance, which was denied on April 15th, 2025? May I have a Catanacci, may I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Secretary, can you please take the roll?
Yes. Just want to confirm, Mr. McGovern, you're not going to vote, is that right?
On the Monahan one?
On the Monahan?
He could vote.
I could, I was
Okay.
only missing the one, I was there, I mean, this is a
This
big,
is
big
for-
thing.
I'll read off who voted for the resolution last, in favor of the
In fa-
on the approval, or I should say the denial. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, because this is just the variance we're dealing with now,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, so there were, let's see. Mr. Cadre, he's not here. Ms. Deadweiler, she's available, to vote. Mr. Kohut, no, and he's sick, he was absent. Ms. Wiggum, yes. Mr. Catanacci, yes. Mr. McGovern, yes, can vote. And, Mr. Lathan did not vote.
I was an alternate. at the
Yeah, you're an
time.
alternate at the
Yeah.
time. And, Ms. Hussein, was an alternate. She voted no, so I think she was able to vote, though.
Okay.
And then, Ms. Teresi, who's not here,
Okay.
so.
All right, Mr. Catanacci?
Can I clarify exactly what we're voting on?
Yes.
We're voting
To approve
yes
the
to
resolution up for the, it's the.
denial.
Yes, the use variance.
And if you recall, last month we dealt with, was it last month or the month before, was the other two items. It was a three-part, we're finishing up tonight.
Right, you
It
voted,
was last month.
the la- the
I wasn't
last
here, which is why
resolution.
I'm confused.
Okay, that makes sense,
Thank
okay.
you.
yeah, that was regarding the denial of the, zoning officers.
Appeal.
Appeal and the certificate of nonconformity. This is just the variance, okay.
Mr. Catanacci?
Yes.
Ms. Deadweiler?
Yes.
Mr. McGovern?
Yes,
Ms. Wiggum?
Yes.
And Ms. Hussein?
Yes.
Great.
So the motion is adopted. Okay. Next one, this is the resolution memorializing the decision approving, did we actually approve the certification of nonconforming use? Okay, so yeah, approving, the certification of nonconforming use approved July 15th, 2025.
This I know. Mr. Catanacci?
Oh, I need a motion
Oh,
first.
sorry.
May I have a motion?
Second.
Catanacci and Kohut second, okay. Now you can take the call.
Mr. Catanacci?
Yes.
Ms. Deadweiler?
Yes.
Mr. Kohut?
Yes.
Mr. Lathan?
Yes.
Mr. McGovern?
yes,
And Ms. Hussein?
Yes.
Great.
The motion is adopted, the resolution is approved, okay. Invoices for approval, we have, a whole bunch of them actually, catching up here. I think I'll just take them all at once. Has everyone had a chance to review them? All nice in one package, one piece of paper, thank you. May I have a
getting
motion? Yeah, we're getting there. May I have a motion to approve invoices? I'll just say the ones from Van Cleef, the ones from Mason, Griffin, and Pearson, and and the one from Kyle and McManus.
I so moved.
Second.
Second. Do we need a roll on this one? No, okay. All in favor? Anyone against? Okay, they are approved. Thank you. You'd think by now I'd know this. No. Okay, completeness hearing, we are skipping. The next thing is items for discussion. So I don't have anything particular I wanted to bring up. We also will have an opportunity to have oral reports. Is there anything, just give an opportunity, especially to Mr. Mayor, Mr. Nardi, who will be leading, if there's anything you want to bring up, to discuss. I know there's some, I just want to say real quickly, as seems like we are getting through the backlog of applications, it seems like we're starting to get things a little bit running a little smoothly. We still need to catch up on all the escrow accounts for full, what's the word? Openness, whatever the right
Oh, transparent.
transparency, we're working on that. And then, you know, next up is, I know there's some we need to go back and look at the master plan related items. I owe the township committee a, formal report on the zoning, on all of the zoning related applications and the issues that have arisen from that, so that is on me to get to you by next month. Well, I have to get it to this board, we have to adopt it. So that's sort of on my priority list, just letting you know. But if there's anything else you wanna bring up, now would be a good time, and Katie?
Website?
Website, yes, I know that, Ms. Wiggum and Mr. Kohut worked on some website things. I've been sitting on that now that we're sort of getting our legs underneath us, we'll start working on that. So that's sort of where we are, but if there's anything else you wanna bring up.
I have something that I wanna ask, and that is, we have a couple of letters from the New Jersey planning about their huge report that they sent out, and I know they're gonna come and talk to the township committee. Did you say something about that one day?
No, go ahead. Talk about it's fine.
No, I was just wondering
They
when.
haven't contacted me about it, but I know that right now at this stage in the state plan review process, the state does have comments from what the state got from various counties, because again, the counties were collecting all of the comments of their respective municipalities. So the state is now in a posture where it's responding, so I trust we'll be getting that shortly, and yes, we'll take a look at that, and if there's anything to pass here, we will, but
And you've gone to multiple meetings.
yes.
Yes.
Do we know if Sarlan's was included in the special resource?
I
area?
don't know, it's something that in the meetings that I attended, we strongly encourage the county and the state to do, is to provide a designation of special resource area for the Sarlan's region. I don't know what they did with that, so I'm waiting to see the comments from the state.
Thanks.
But that is an important thing, because it's, as we've talked about, it's one of our great environmental resources, and it's also important for groundwater and open space, and our residents love it too. So two things I think to mention. I had given an update previously on traffic calming.
Yes.
So the township did use one mobile speed detector sign, and I don't know if any of you've seen it, but we put it up on Wurtsville Road near the golf course. I've already been getting comments from folks who are seeing it. The idea, of course, is to educate drivers at how fast they're going, and also remind them about the importance of not speeding in town. It has some, tangential relevance, of course, to what the planning board does in considering the town. So that's something that we're doing. We also continue to work with the state on traffic calming. Hopefully for Ringo's Village, a lot of hurdles with the bureaucratic process, but that's ongoing as well. And I think we reported last time, Al and I, on the cottage food ordinance. If we didn't, we did adopt that, and so that's gone into effect. We'll see if there are issues about that. If there are, we may come back to this body and with further inquiry, but that's now in effect. We did pass that. Are there other things, Al?
We had the $10,000 grant we put in for it to again try to help reduce
Right.
speed in our township. Safety's priority, so fingers crossed we get that grant. We'll have some more signage, slow down type of thing.
And I know there's a couple other grant applications outstanding that we will, fingers crossed, and report out if we get them.
Yeah, a number of things for the, we got the grant for the playground for Clausen Park. So Al did a lot of work and got that funding, and so we're moving forward to get a shade canopy so that families and children, when they use the playground, can, not be the victim of the hot heat. So yeah, that and a number of other grants are being applied for. One of that category, Emily, is also, we applied for a grant for funding from the DCA to hire some experts to work on affordable housing ideas. One of the things we've been trying to do is to explore decentralized ways of trying to provide housing so that it's, if we're meeting our obligations, we're not just doing a massive private development of which a very small portion goes to affordable housing. It's not really, it's definitely not the way we see the character of the town, keeping it rural, nor is it that effective in actually providing housing. So we have an application in for a grant from the DCA to try to get some funding to do that. And if we get that, we'll explore, some more decentralized things that may fit better again with our rural character. And because the state has imposed on us obligations to come up with this, we've got numbers, we've got specifics. So if we can be creative about the ways to do it, it would be beneficial. And I know the planning board's thought a lot about, fair share housing, having reviewed and approved a plan. So we'll be getting back to you and see how that goes.
I think that's it. So now is the time, hopefully, now that we can actually get back to doing some planning.
Yep.
Just putting it on the record. I'm actually looking forward to that. 'Cause
Yeah, and I'd say from the township committee's perspective, thanks everyone for doing all the work that you're doing. There've been so many applications, plus other, proactive planning that the planning board's trying to do. So we appreciate everyone's effort to do all that. And hopefully we can, Emily says, get to some other planning and, do some helpful and creative things, and not just address applications.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else? If you have oral reports or items for discussion, I'm kind of merging these together just in the interest time.
From the Ringo's Village
Yes,
Subcommittee.
please.
I just want to remind everybody that September 12th is Friday night at the park.
Okay.
And we have invited community organizations and nonprofits to come to share what is happening in East Amwell through those organizations. So I brought posters so everybody can know it's their fun events. I would suggest everybody comes.
Food?
They have
Did you ask
two-
about
they
food?
have two
Do you want the
food trucks
menu?
that come. One is a wings truck, and an ice cream truck, yeah, and they have great music that plays. They're really fun events, they're great family events.
And who is the Fleetwood Mac cover band?
They were there last year and they were fabulous.
Do they have a name, or do they call themselves the Fleetwood Mac?
They're looking for a name, and you can be the marketing committee. No, I'm joking. But that says it all, right? It's a descriptive name. Okay,
You Fleetwood Mac and cheese.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
good for you, yeah.
You can go
And
your own
they
way.
must have a mac and cheese truck that goes with the band then. Okay, on that wonderful note, I think that's it for planning board. We will now be moving into zoning.
Oh, the correspondence.
Oh, correspondence. Is there particular things you wanna call out on that one? I'm sorry.
I just thought this might be useful reading for all of you regarding the
Yes.
state plan. And,
Okay.
yeah.
And I have to admit, I did not read.
It's huge.
I
do.
did say
It's a lot.
something about the
Huge document.
correspondence, cause I did look
yes,
at the
you
know
reports
it.
that came out.
Yep,
And they're very interesting, and I think they go along exactly what you were saying, Dante, about they wanna centralize, housing, and they want to use less spread out housing. So if we can find some ways to answer our COA obligation, cause as I was reading it, I was thinking, this sounds like it's really in opposition to what COA wants us to do. So I think it's good to take a look at, and I think it goes right along with what you're saying we wanna do.
yeah, and we have a unique challenge because we can't centralize too much because we don't have water. So-
Yes, and plus they don't
Right.
wanna use places that don't have sewers.
Right.
And so again, that would be another thing that would mediate against us. So I think there's an entree through this planning document that would also give us arguments for what you're trying to do.
Well, we've been repeatedly saying to the state, when you do affordable housing, you need to take environmental constraints into the equation. You can't just, put blinders over your eyes and say, just do this. And so if they're going that direction, that would be a significant improvement in their approach and the process, so.
I can
Take a
also
look.
say one of these reports is 254 pages long. So if you go to the back and do about the last 10 pages, you can find.
That's where the interesting
some
part is.
other
Yeah,
244 pages.
It's the summary.
yeah. It's like reading an annual report. Just go read the risks. and You're good.
I think Rich has a question.
Okay.
I have a point of personal privilege. I want to ask a question to our council. I have a nephew who is a member of the Giordano firm, and I also, and the Giordano firm also has represented me and my husband. If there's a conflict of interest, I would not be able to deal with the Energy Sun Farms greenhouse solar application. And quite frankly, I'm a firm believer of that an appearance of a conflict of interest is sufficient, and I would, you know, I would be more than happy to. I would love to be involved, but I think under the circumstances that I would have to recuse myself.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, so I guess at this time,
Yeah.
Alan and I will recuse ourselves.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Have a good
Thank you
evening.
so much, guys.
Take care.
Shanti will be happy.
Emily, I was giving you a heads up because in terms of quorum, you know.
Yes, no, I appreciate it, and you know how we are about that, yes. No, I much appreciate it. Okay, just give them a second.
Okay, we're
Yep,
ready.
So we are ready. We have an application in front of us. Ann Kelly, 20 Haynes Road. Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. This is Ann Kelly, and I'm the farmhand, her husband.
We're both on.
Thank you for taking the time
Just
to listen
before
to
you
us today.
Oh, wait.
Just before you start, Katie, you said you reviewed the affidavits and
Yes.
there's jurisdiction to proceed?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So the first thing we'll do is, do you want to just swear everybody in?
Yes.
I'm getting
gonna-
this.
If you would, I don't know if this is on. Okay, would you raise your right hands and, do you swear that, and this planning, board professionals too? I'm swearing you all in, and your witness. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give before this board's the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay.
All right. And you are Miss Ann Kelly?
Yes.
And you are?
Renaud Verlac, her husband.
Okay. And I think the application is in your name?
Both.
Well, and both your names? Okay. Can you just start off by just describing your application, please?
Sure, so we moved to this beautiful town 3 years ago in June 2022, and we acquired a house at 20 Haynes Road. We were looking for a property that offered the possibility of starting a farming business in the form of raising alpacas for their fiber and potentially breeding them.
Okay.
And we moved in August of 2022, and we started making improvements to the property in order to be able to start that business. During that time, my wife went to visit a number of farms to learn more about the business of raising alpacas, including some local farms, but also farms in Pennsylvania. And by May of 2023, less than a year later, we welcome our first 8 alpacas. They all have French names. That was, I guess, too endear them to me. And we continue to make improvements along. So by improvements, what do I mean? I mean more fences to be able to rotate the alpacas in different pastures, also fertilizing those pastures using lime and other environmentally conscious processes to do so, and then that allowed us a year later, in June 2024, to bring our next alpacas, doubling the size of our herd. They all have Irish names. She's Irish American, so those I haven't quite remembered their names quite as well as I did the French ones. But so we have now 15 alpacas. We've already sold fiber last year. We sold fiber this year. We're also keeping some of the first cuttings in order to have enough critical mass to actually turn that into a finished product. And we need to have at least 100 pounds of that. Now, we are doing all the work ourselves. I should say she's doing the majority of the work. As I say, I'm the farmhand. I'm here to help. But she's really running that business, including digging trenches and collecting a lot of alpaca poop and horse poop as well, because we have now 2 horses on the property also. It's it's hard work, but it's work that we're enjoying. It's also work that we realize we will not always be able to do in the future. And so with that prospect in mind, we decided to apply with this board effectively to turn the loft of our barn, which is a 6-stall pole barn, into effectively a residence for farm help. And there is, as you all know, the possibility to do that in East Amwell. So we were in front of this board earlier this year. There were some questions about what we were doing, about the completeness of application. All of that, I think, has been handled with. Now the primary question that remains in front of this board, and for which we are seeking variance, relates to the size of our property. So we have 21.6 acres, and we currently have an application, a renewal application with the tax authorities of East Amwell for a farm business designation. Of the 21.6 acres, about 20 acres are considered as farmland. Some of that is pastures, some of that is woodlands that play a part in the ecology of the farm. And however, our lot has a large stem coming from Haynes Road and so it's designated as a flag lot. And while the farmhand exception talks about 20 acres as the minimum required, there is separately, and maybe in this case something that needs to be considered as well, a requirement for flag lots to be at least 10 acres, which we largely exceed, but excluding the flagpole. So question is that maybe the flagpole, so-called flagpole, does not apply, or does not count in our farmland assessment in this case. So that's why we're looking for variance from the board. We are committed to the business. As I say, we do spend a lot of time, the first one up in the morning, feeding the alpacas and feeding the horses. We, again, feel that in the future, that's something that we may no longer be able to do, but we want to keep that activity going. And we think that by offering the possibility of a residence on the property to a potential farm help, not only that will make that attractive to that potential farm help, especially in a climate where it seems to be more and more difficult to find actually people to help on the farm. But we don't necessarily expect that that farm help would be only helping us. They could potentially be helping other farm businesses in the vicinity, in the neighborhood. So we think that by building that residence, converting our barn loft into that residence, we are effectively making it attractive, and we think that it will be helpful to the community going forward.
And I'll just add, so we've been operating for about 2 years as a farm, designated farm, here for 3. So setting up the farm the first year, really doing a lot of the infrastructure, gathering equipment, researching, meeting the neighbors, understanding the farms around us and what resources they have, sharing resource. We actually have a couple of our neighbors here tonight who wanted to speak on our behalf as well. And then really the next 2 years just figuring out how to maximize what we can do on the farm, so adding to it, right? So adding more alpacas, we've got horses, we've been putting, this year we put hay up with Zhang Farms, and Isaac will be doing that going forward. We sectioned off about 2 acres of our pasture for putting hay up, so we're starting to do that ourselves. We also started an organic garden, which was experimental this year with it's 3 years of overgrowth, so we kind of had to clean it out first. We had lots of alpaca poop to use as fertilizer, and we did some experimentation on what would grow best and what was the easiest to maintain and what would produce the most. So I actually just dropped off 20 pounds of pepperoncinis over at the Flemington Food Bank because we grew a little too much. So some things were very successful, maybe a little too much. So we'll be looking into also growing organic vegetables and probably selling at local farm markets for next year, because we've narrowed down both sources for the seeds heirloom seeds and seedlings, and then we're working with a farm down the road, our neighbors who actually grow these things as well and share with us. And then the only other, our this year's plans are to add llamas and look at textiles and more rug kind of floor pillow textiles with their fibers a little bit rougher. Using the alpacas first cutting, like Renaud said, we need 100 pounds in order to get a mill to process and produce a product for us, which we have template and someone to produce, but we need to wait to have enough fiber. It takes about 2 to 3 years to get the best first cutting, and then spin that up and produce the product. So that's our plans for this next year, and I'm sure we'll probably evolve from there. We also did a lot of infrastructure work in the woodlands we have. We cleared the sort of dead ash trees that everyone has around here, and the overgrowth of what was mostly poison ivy and other terrible weeds and things. So there's a nice path through both of our woodland sections, so we can utilize that. We'll be putting a horse track system in, and we're going to be using that for alpaca walks and things as well. So our pastures are a lot to maintain. Like Renaud said, we've lined them. They were pretty far gone. We bought the property from a family who owned it, who had horses, but they were hunter jumpers and kind of did more equestrian events. I don't think they really did much farming, so we've really expanded the operation in that direction. And so the pastures needed a lot of restoration. And we do rotational grazing and harrowing in between, and we've got the alpacas on kind of one half of the property, which we have to keep pretty mowed down because they don't eat long grass. They only eat really short grass. And then our other 4 pastures that are kind of back up in the corner that the horses use, they don't have to get mowed that often just to keep weeds at bay. But it's a lot of pasture management work, which I'm doing right now with a little help. So yes, we're just looking for, potential farm hands that could kind of grow with us and be consistent and not transient. And we have other neighbors with farms who are also aging, and I'm pretty sure they're going to need some help someday too. So maybe we could, like we share resources now, sharing some of that resource as well. Give someone a full-time job. So our neighbors are here. I don't know where on the agenda it would be appropriate for them to say a few words on our behalf, but just wanted to make sure they made the effort to be here, so I wanted to make sure that they got to.
So I'm thinking what we'll do is, I understand your architect is here,
Mhm.
so if you sort of completed your presentation, your introduction, we'll hear from your architect. Then we can have the board ask questions of both you, your husband, and your architect, and then we can hear
Okay.
from your neighbors. How does that sound to everyone?
That sounds great.
And we should hear from our professionals.
Yes, and we need to hear from our professionals, and we will hear from them maybe after the presentation, before we all ask questions. Thank you for that.
So for your presentation, just state your name and have you present your credentials
Yep.
To the chair so she can accept you as an expert.
Sure. Ralph Finelli, P.O. Box 144 in Surgeonsville. I've got a degree from the New Jersey Institute of Technology in 1981. I've been licensed since 1984 and in practice since 1987. I've appeared before dozens of boards, especially in the county. I mean, I lived about 5 minutes from this property on Dunker Church Road for 15 years, so very familiar with, with the neighborhood.
And you're here,
I'm here as an architect.
as the architect, okay?
Right.
I'll accept that.
Thank you. Take that with me?
You just pull the whole thing.
Pull the whole thing? Okay. I'll just point from here. It's just as
All right,
simple.
and
We're going to bring that up, maybe? I don't know if that'll work.
So we should identify what you're going to be presenting as an exhibit. We'll call it, do you have more than one or just this one?
There's 2 drawings.
Okay. So exhibit A1 is going to be, you tell us once you get set up what that is.
This looks very familiar.
Yeah, I think it's a blown up.
I think it's a blown up of what we had in the application, yes.
It is. So
Looks like these.
both of the drawings I'm going to show you have in the packet. So this is just to familiarize yourself. We've talked about where the property is, described it as a flag lot, and you can see you know, the big bulk of the property, sort of the top of the page, the house a little bit to your left, the barn a little bit to your right, and then just the long access stem down to Haynes Road. That's really just the purpose.
Is it, there's, just what's the date on that? Has it been updated at all, or is it from 2022 still? Is that the one?
That's the survey they submitted in, yeah,
Yeah.
that was submitted to the board.
Yeah.
I think it was part of the, it came after, it was an update to the original survey that we got.
Right, right.
And that is the survey that does not have the more recent additions, right? Doesn't have the tennis court or something, is missing a couple things that we saw in your aerial?
Yeah, I believe that's
Yeah.
correct.
Is that correct? There's a pool and a swimming, pool and a tennis court that's not on the survey?
This was the survey provided, that's your closing.
Yeah, this does not show either of those features.
Okay.
I think maybe just to add to one of the bits of information that Renaud shared about the farm assessment. So that application is a work in progress. I think that, as you've mentioned about the pool and the tennis court, you know, typically, I think the practice of most tax assessors has been to sequester an acre toward residential use, and the balance of the property for farmland assessment is agricultural. And you need the 5 contiguous acres. Well, there's no issue with the 5 contiguous acres, but because of the sort of non-agricultural, really residential features like the pool and the tennis court, so in their application to the tax board this year, they've set aside 3 acres as residential, so they haven't.
It's actually, sorry, Rob,
Yeah,
the
come-
first year
First
was 3 acres, sorry, so, just
Go ahead.
correction.
Yeah, clear.
So we were conservative our first year when we applied for farmland assessment, because we were like, well, we have this tennis court, we have this big backyard with a patio and a pool and the house. And at that point, it was a clerical error on my part, because I didn't realize we could count the woods as a abutment. So we put 3 acres conservatively to say this is residential. This past application, I've updated that, so I think we were somewhere around 18 and change on the acreage designated to farmland. And I've now updated the application with the tax assessor's office to include those pieces and be a little more specific. And it's 20.5 acres designated to farmland now, as we've evolved the farm and gotten a better understanding of how things work.
And so that's an application for farmland assessment?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just, I knew that both terms are being used. I didn't want to be confused about that. So the drawing that you have in front of you now, you also have it in your packet. And that's an existing pole barn that was on the property when these guys bought the property. There's a hay loft. It was anticipated by the previous owner, as I mentioned, had horses. Horses go through a lot more hay than alpaca. And now, yes, I'm testifying as an architect, but I've owned a boarding barn for 45 years, so handled plenty of manure management myself. So the hay loft is really mostly empty, and they don't need that space, and it's ideal for, there's plenty of headroom. It's ideal for living quarters. There's a pre-existing, full stair that goes up to the hay loft space. There's windows, there's doors at both far ends. So we proposed a shed dormer on the north side. I would also mention the whole south side of this roof is covered in solar panels, so there's solar energy production going on at the same time. So we've got a north-facing shed dormer. And then the floor plan, you can see, it's just generally an open living area, kitchen, and a couple of bedrooms. So the anticipation is that it is certainly comfortable for, a single person, a couple, but the idea is that, as they had mentioned, to be attractive to somebody who is looking for, a real agricultural occupation, not looking at, transients. We're not looking at, I know that the ordinance talks about the use of this facility during the seasons that are suited to agriculture, but as you heard the description of this particular effort, there is animal husbandry, there is pasture management, and as every farm knows, even in those off seasons, there's machinery maintenance and all those sorts of things. So we don't see it as as a temporary, part-time of the year occupation or occupancy. We do see it as a full-time use of the facility because the farm warrants it.
Can I interrupt? A2
Yes.
architectural,
Yes.
prepared by you
Yes.
and dated,
Let's see, so it is dated 11/20/24.
thank you.
How many bathrooms?
I think we have two, right? Two bathrooms, one,
Yes.
yeah, two bathrooms.
And how many square feet of living space?
Altogether, it's about 1,200 square feet of space.
And that, where those windows are, that's the dormer that's going to be built?
Yes, that's all facing kind of, down the pasture, but yes.
And how
I
many
said the
bedrooms?
backside, 2 bedrooms. The backside is all covered in solar panels, so there's no hope of.
Would they rent this? Is that the idea? That-
No, the idea is that this is, this is a perk of working at the farm. So, however they're going to treat the farm help, it's going to be, housing as a component of what their pay is.
And with 2 bedrooms, are you anticipating possibly a family?
We're anticipating that we're trying to keep an open mind and, listen, I've worked on plenty of horse farms who do look for seasonal help. Where the horse population goes to Florida in the winter and they've got half a dozen guys working during the summer months and then they're gone. So those are clearly, single people working horse farms. We don't really look at it this way. And I think that the idea, they explain very well what their farm operation is. And the farm operation is really broad-based and pretty holistic, from alpaca and horse to heirloom vegetables and flowers. So, I think that the appeal is, I don't look at this anticipating the kind of guys who come up my horse farm driveway looking for part-time help. I anticipate it much more likely to be a student from Rutgers who's looking for, full-time occupation after graduating with a degree in agriculture, something like that. Because it's just like the Rutgers Extension Service out there in Pittstown. That's more what it seems like. It's very broad-based. There's a real spread of agricultural interest.
Would
But
there be restriction at all with respect to, my concern is not that I don't love children, but you put a child in the
Yeah.
East Inlet school system, that costs,
Right.
that costs us $13,000.
Right.
So would there be a restriction in terms of whether or not these people who would be working on the farm could also have children who would be going into the East Inlet school system?
Yeah. I don't think the ordinance speaks to that. I don't think the ordinance asks for it or suggests that there should be a limitation on it. So, unless it's not listed as one of the conditions, I just think it's silent on that. I don't think that the applicant anticipates somebody raising a family here. It's clearly not set up for that. But the idea of 2 bedroom, you'd have, 2 professionals working who maybe are not married, but are both working the farm. Or it is somebody starting a family, or it's somebody at my end of the spectrum who's not doing that, and maybe it's an office and a bedroom, just like it would be in your house, just, calling it a bedroom is, okay, it's a bedroom, but that's,
Yeah,
but
and I
that's
think
to
we
make,
can, we can ask more questions of the applicant in this matter. I do agree that we should definitely, hear from Mr. Kyle on what the ordinance tells us, right, and sort of stick to that, but I see the questions, I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Do you have more on the building itself? Because I do want to hear from,
no, the building's pretty simple. So
what is the downstairs being used for today?
the downstairs is stalls, so there are a couple of horse stalls, as they mentioned, there are other stalls that are being used as the alpaca, there's general storage, hay storage, they can talk about the first floor, sure. You wanna just answer that real quick?
Yeah, so the main floor of the barn is 6 stalls. 2 on the back side of the barn are for the alpaca. They face out to their pen area. We have them able to come in and out on their own, and that pen is enclosed behind the barn. And then they have a passageway out to their pastures to the right or west. And then the front of the barn is 4 horse stalls with a center hallway separating 2 on either side. 2 are currently occupied. 1 is being used as a feed room, and then 1 is being currently used for hay storage.
Is there air conditioning in there now?
No.
Okay.
In the barn, no.
You may have seen me, I visited today, so there was a unit there that I thought was in air. I can look.
Yeah, so I can speak to that. So
Yeah.
when we started this process, it was last August.
Yep.
And so we went ahead and did a permit for accessory space
Okay.
for the upstairs. So we are using that for fiber storage right now, and that is an
What that AC
air-conditioned
unit is for, okay.
unit is in there.
Okay.
We also added a generator
Okay.
because
Say no more.
and not, yeah, because the house one wasn't, we didn't want
Oh,
to.
so there's a generator for each
That's
facility?
right, yes.
Okay.
So there is AC upstairs currently, and we did develop out the space to be able to store our fiber that we processed
Okay.
recently. And we have a permit with the zoning office for accessory use.
Okay.
That's been approved, and
Okay.
we went ahead and built that out.
Okay.
So it's a somewhat of a similar layout, but we obviously had to wait to make it any kind of residential space
Yep. Okay.
before, we moved in that direction, but we had the space and we needed to use it, so we went ahead with that
Okay.
parallel path.
Okay.
Is it your expectation that the downstairs space will continue to be used as it's being used now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No changes to the downstairs space. It's shelter for alpacas and horses and storage and hay storage. That's kind of where our hay storage is now currently.
Shall we hear from our professionals and then we can ask all our questions away? Mr. Kyle?
Yes. Okay, so we had a memo that we issued on August 1st. We identified the subject property, provided a relatively recent aerial, so it shows you the improvements, single-family house with a pool and patio, the existing barn, there's a riding area, and then there's a tennis court. So the main issue with this application is that we have conditional use standards for farm labor housing. It's permitted in the Antelope Valley Agricultural District. One of the requirements is that the lot be 20 acres. This is a little obscure because the lot is 21.8. The problem is you can't count the portion of the access way, since this is a flag lot, in the property acreage. It's about 4.5 acres, because it's it's probably 1,000 feet of access way. So it takes 4.5 acres off of the 21.78. As best I can tell, that is the only conditional use standard that they do not meet. We heard from testimony from Ms. Kelly. Let me just make sure. So this is 9291D5, and the first standard is minimum lot size of the farm shall be 20 acres. Such housing facilities shall only be occupied during the period of time when workers are engaged in agricultural activities. We've heard testimony from the applicant on that. They have to comply with all existing statutes, laws, rules, and regulations of the federal government and the state of New Jersey concerning migrant housing. I think we should just have some testimony from the applicant that they intend to comply with that. Applicable rules and regulations regarding water supply and sanitary waste disposal facilities. So all we received with the application was a survey. Mr. O'Brien had a comment in his letter that they have to document that they can provide adequate septic and water
That's
supply
where I was going there.
to the dwelling.
Yep.
So we don't have any evidence of whether they're gonna connect to the existing septic or a new septic will be designed and constructed. So we need to hear some testimony on that. There are no issues with setbacks. It has to be 200 feet from a street and 150 feet from a property line, no issue. This is not really a standard. It just says they shall be removed or converted to other permitted accessory or conditional uses upon the cessation of any farm operation. I think that would, Sharon, just be a condition of any approval if the board chooses to grant the relief.
Can they be rented? Does the statute
No,
allow, so it
that's
must
a
be,
totally different animal.
so there cannot be any rental income from this?
So if the farm operations were to cease,
Yep.
and let's say the property went from a 3B to a 2 residential,
Okay,
and it's no longer considered a farm, then you can no longer use it. Now, they can come back to the board for different relief.
yep,
You know, we have standards that permit secondary dwelling units in the Emerald Valley Agricultural District on 10 acres. But that is related to a conversion of a building that existed prior to 1963, which this barn did not. So it would just be different relief, but they could come back to the board for something different later if it's not farm labor housing.
and
then-
while it's farm labor housing, they cannot charge rent, or they can charge rent to those,
It's silent in the ordinance, so it's
Okay.
not really our issue, it's really for them to.
I just
determine.
wanna know-
But
I just wanna know how it
it has to be somebody
works.
that is working on the farm,
they have to work on the farm.
correct.
Okay,
And then it just says such housing for farm workers shall not be permitted on a farm parcel which also has a secondary or, oh, I repeated that, sorry, typo there, or tertiary dwelling, which this does not. This is just one unit. So, by my review, it's really just the issue of the lot size. You know, we provided the board with some analysis on the conditional use standards. So a D3 variance is different than a D1, so we use the Coventry standard here. We just have to find that the property continues to be appropriate for the conditional use despite that departure in the lot area. And then on the negative criteria, again, the focus is on the condition that they're not meeting. So relative to the 20 acres, is that reduced lot area gonna have any impact on an adjacent property? And then we have to reconcile the grant of the relief with the governing body's intent of putting that standard in the ordinance in the first place. So again, I said at the beginning, this is a little obscure because they do have more than 20 acres. It's just this definition in our ordinance that says you can't count that portion of it. So I think as long as you're satisfied that essentially the reduction per the access way, you know, doesn't really impact the appropriateness of it, I don't, you know, see much of an issue with it. But again, that's for you to decide. So I think,
And again, it's not a new building, it's a building that's already there.
correct. And it meets all the other requirements for conversion to farm labor housing. So it's really just the lot size. And this is almost smack in the middle of the property. So, you know, it's not adjacent to any other properties. These are all pretty large properties in this area of the township. They're all farms, so, you know, that's kind of what you're judging.
Jim, do you have any, can you speculate as to why the ordinance might have said that the land on the access way can't be counted as part of the 20? I mean, I know you don't know definitively, but I'm just curious why that might have been incorporated into an ordinance.
It's a really good question. I don't. Rob and I have talked about this a little bit because they actually have 150 feet of frontage on Haynes Road. Now, it doesn't comply with the Emerald Valley requirement of 400 because we equate, and Rob pointed this out to me, we equate lot frontage with width. So the district requires 400 feet. So they don't have conforming frontage, but it's not a typical flag lot where you might see 30 or 50 feet.
yeah, it's
At
a
the
pretty
road.
wide, yes, yeah.
You know, that whole access, like I said, it's 4.5 acres, which is a lot of property.
Yeah.
So I don't, it's funny, I said to Rob, I think if we re-examine the master plan again in the near future, I think we need to look at that definition.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
You know,
you.
maybe
Yeah.
we say, well, a flag lot is something that's less than, 75 feet of frontage on the road, or something like that. And we allow it to be as little as 30.
Right.
So, I can't imagine why that's the case.
So I'm hearing you say this is an ordinance that, part of the ordinance that we might revisit in the future,
I mean, that
based
would be
on-
my opinion. but-
Yeah, right, your opinion, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's just, this
It-
is a
Yeah.
unique situation, and it's not a typical flag lot, I'll just say that. Typically,
Because
we would
typically
see
they're very
much
thin.
less frontage on the roadway, and, you know, we've seen long flag, but 4.5 acres is chewed up in the access way, it's unique, so.
Great, thank you.
And that's not all driveway,
No.
that's trees and,
I think the driveway's 12 feet wide.
yeah.
And on either side of the driveway, that's also used for, is it fence, is it used for pastures?
I don't think so, I think
No, I
it's
think
just.
grass,
uh,
right?
So one
Just
side of the
avoid the
driveway,
grass.
one
Yeah.
side of our driveway, is along our neighbor's property, so there's a fence, it's white. The other side of the driveway is a wooded lot, which we've also made access to, right, with paths through it. We have another section of the wooded lot. Is that on here? In the very back of the property, which is another large, probably, what is that, like 6 acres back there? Yeah, something like that.
Ji-
5
Yeah,
acres.
Jim's report has a really good aerial, you can see the woods in the back, yeah.
And just to add one more thing on that wood that's along the driveway, it's actually key for the water management of the area. We actually have, as you can imagine, a creek literally running through it and joining a larger creek
It's a
because every
drainage.
time, all the drainage from all the pasture is actually going there.
Cause it comes down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's a slope, correct?
this is.
There's a slope. There's actually even pipes that are going.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
maybe that's why it's so wide.
And then, to speak to, maybe Ralph, we can talk about the terms if you want more specifics to the, infrastructure to support the apartment. We would not have moved forward with this ever if the previous owners didn't put 2 septic tanks and all of the requirements for East Amwell,
there
they
already
were
2
built.
septic
Yes,
fields?
1,000-gallon tank.
right, 2 1,000-gallon tanks,
And one for the barn and one for the
Yeah,
house.
this-
No,
the
2 for the barn.
house, 2 times
2 for the
1,000,
barn
and
and
2
2 for the house.
barn, 2 times 1,000.
Yeah, so if we had to go through the,
That's a
you
lot
know,
of septic.
Yeah.
if we had to go through the, installing that, probably maybe wouldn't have been cost efficient to
They still
proceed
need to go to
further,
the Board of
so,
Health then?
yes.
You
So
just
it's,
to be
go
clear,
ahead,
so,
yep.
in response to both Mr. O'Brien and Mr. Kyle's reports, the owners have contracted Bayer Reese Engineering to do an assessment and do the paperwork and go
Okay.
talk to the health department to qualify it, because the original septic design was based on a full-time horse operation, which is really, really different from alpaca and from, crop farming and all. So they just have to redefine the uses and, but I think they just came to an agreement maybe 10 days ago or so, and, it's gonna be a while for Bayer Reese to be able to really, put effort into it, and obviously we wanted to get, yeah.
Are there 2 separate wells as well?
Just one well.
Just
The
one?
way it was built originally is that there is a conduit effectively under the pasture that separates the barn from the main house that brings the water. We've never had any issue with that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, obviously, there's already water in the barn.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. O'Brien, you were gonna say something, I could kinda tell.
I was just to say there's wetland area on that in that driveway too,
Okay,
on the old survey from 2007, so
And again,
that's good.
Yeah, it's
water
exactly.
management.
Yeah.
No, right, that's a good
Yeah.
thing to have there. The only other question I have 2 questions on it really. The red roof structure behind the barn, what is that? That's, it's just a shed, storage? Okay,
It's, equipment storage.
okay. And then the other question was, laundry room in the barn, is there anywhere for them to, you have an apartment here, is there, I didn't see it laid out in the.
So there is a laundry in the first, well, there's, I guess, 2 questions. The first is, for a residential unit, a laundry is not required.
Understood,
However,
I was just
right.
asking if
But
there
there
was
is,
one.
yeah, there was a laundry room in the first floor as part of the original development. So, obviously, we, that person is living in the second floor, the facilities are already in the first floor, there's no sense in moving it upstairs, but there is laundry on the
Cause that's gonna require flow for your septic.
Correct,
so.
and that was in the original calculation, so it's just a matter now of like rejiggering those numbers based on the actual occupancy.
How big is that? Cause I imagine that was put in for like horse blankets.
Yeah, which is good for us, because, we're gonna
Got
trade
some
off horse blankets
that
for a
need to be
kitchen.
washed.
Yeah.
Right? In
yeah.
terms of gallons per day, it's probably the same, right? But, so, I don't know.
it's just a regular
It's just a regular washing
Yeah.
machine?
Yeah.
Wow.
We have a larger one in our house.
Yeah.
Cause I've washed horse blankets before and
Well, sorry, the way we've arranged the farm is that the horses and the alpacas can actually, on their own, go back to their stalls. So if it's cold out there in the field, they don't need a blanket, they go back to the house, to the stall. If it's hot, they go back to the stall, we have a fan working, so we've designed the system in a way that actually is not gonna be consuming a lot of blankets.
Good.
So we don't see much use for that.
And there's no health issues, health department issues with having alpacas, horses, and people in the same structure.
No,
It's more a building code issue.
Yeah.
Fire separation, things like that.
right,
Mr. Finelli knows how to deal with that.
yeah.
Okay.
And Mr. Catenacci, I heard you asking about the school earlier. We do pay a significant amount of taxes here in East Amwell. We don't have children, we won't have children. I'm 58, my youngest is 28, so we do pay school taxes, and we are proud to support the school system of East Amwell.
I know it well.
Very good.
I guess the only other thing I would say, just because we mentioned it, but really grateful for the comprehensive report that Mr. Kyle proposed, including the sort of what would typically be used as proofs for the variance application. So we would stipulate to all of that. We have no issues conforming to the requests, the suggestions by both Mr. O'Brien and Mr. Kyle.
Anything else from you guys?
No.
Jim, Rob?
No.
Nothing else? Any questions from the board? Questions for,
I have one for the architect, if I could.
okay,
I know this, hay is very heavy, so I know taking that out of the upper, part there, you didn't have to do any structural reinforcement for
No,
upstairs?
not at
Even
all.
with the, what about the roof with the sun, solar panels up there?
Solar panels weigh about 1.5 pounds a square foot, and the existing roof is a metal roof, which is also about 1 pound a square foot. So altogether, they're still less than an asphalt shingle roof.
Gotcha.
We didn't have to do anything for that.
Okay, thank you.
And heating and cooling for up there.
Yep.
You've got an air conditioner now up there for the fiber, and that will stay for the apartment?
I believe so, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I imagine it will get warm.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, you know, it was insulated to residential standards, it was, you know, it's constructed for that, so, you know, the fact that we're not really, you know, the thermostat is not set to residential standards, but the equipment is all sized for it.
any questions from the board? Any questions for you, Mr.?
My only question is, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, it sounds like you're not expecting this to be that the housing would be considered part of a compensation package with your farmhands. And would you be willing to stipulate that as a condition of this use, that this would not be a rental property in any way?
I mean,
It can't be.
It can't be.
Not for the
Right.
approval that they're seeking. It's
Right.
only for farm labor housing. It has
Yeah.
to be somebody working on the farm.
Right.
If it's not, they have to come back.
sure,
Right,
yeah, we
okay,
can't
yeah,
rent
okay,
it. It's
all
not
right,
a
I
rental,
understand,
and
yeah.
yes, we would arrange it such that it's a perk
Right.
or an additional benefit to also have someone come and stay with us more longer term.
Okay, the reason I
Um,
asked was because you mentioned that you have neighbors who might need a farmhand, and I wouldn't see this being an approved use if you had someone living there, not working on your farm, but working for the neighbors.
Well,
I want to be really clear about that.
Yeah, I mean, again, kind of division of labor, right? Understanding that it's gonna keep someone occupied, 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe there's some days where they have extra time and that they can go make additional money, at a nearby farm. That's basically an additional perk, just knowing that there's other people in the area that could probably use additional help. Someone who's kind of local and staying and available.
But the
That's all
primary
we meant.
employee on your farm is
Yes.
the case.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And-
priority number 1 is our farm.
And do you both live there full-time?
Yeah. Yeah, so we moved from New York City,
Okay.
lived there for 30 years, did our escape out east, more towards the beach area, and traded that in for a farm here, and then got rid of city, and now we're here permanently. We tried to do as much work as we could in improvements, and getting everything, the infrastructure set up while we were both working. We're both now retired.
Okay.
So we're full-time farmers, and very passionate about it, but
Okay.
being realistic.
To that point, is French alpaca wool better than Irish alpaca?
Well, actually, the French guys have better fiber at the moment, yeah. So we're evaluating that. They're only about 3 years old, and as they've produced now 2 years, we've picked out 5 that are gonna be the breeders going forward, based on their conformation and size.
And they're all
And their
Irish.
micron. No, there's like 4 of them are French and 1's Irish, but that's okay. Any other questions
Any other
for
questions?
the applicants?
Okay. Shall we open to the public for comment? Okay. May I have a motion to open to the public for comment?
Second.
So you can ask, so usually we say, you can ask questions of the applicant and of the professionals. In this case, because you're here, mostly to I'm gonna make this questions and comments.
Questions
May-
and comments. Very
And then
good.
first thing we need is your first name and your last name.
Tim Martin, and I'm here on behalf of my wife as well. We have the farm across the street, 23 Haynes Road, Block 1, Lot 1 in East Amwell. My first question is, we want first dibs on extra help. Okay, because we've got a large farm across the way, and we have 1,000 feet of road footage right there. A little bit about us. We've been in East Amwell for many decades and recently moved over to Haynes Road about 5 years ago. And part of our properties in East Amwell.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry to
Oh, you
interrupt.
wanna,
Yeah,
yes,
I'm sorry, which we should have clarified for you.
How about anybody who's gonna?
Anyone who's gonna speak as making comments or give testimony have to get sworn in.
Oh.
So,
Anyone?
is there anyone else gonna speak? You can all stand
Anyone
up.
else in the?
No.
Don't be
just you?
intimidated, it's just what you have to do. Okay. So do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give before this board is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
Wow, now it's testimony.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, so we were, when we moved to Haynes Road, we're split between Delaware Township and East Amwell, but we've got property on East Amwell. A little bit about myself before I, talk about the support there. I was on Board of Health, Township Committee in this town, Chairman of the Farmland Preservation Committee here. Recently retired from a large ag company where I spent many decades in agriculture, touring many farms around the world. And I've seen, farms that are 20, 30,000 acres in the Midwest doing row crops, Brazil doing the same thing. And I've seen little tiny farms in Bulgaria and France and places like that that might have a little bit of a few animals and maybe some vines and things, but they're all farms and they all have one thing in common, and that is land is a resource and how they use that land. And the applicants certainly use their land wisely and have a lot of ambition. They're really good neighbors. We share resources since they came to East Amwell. We've been sharing equipment, sharing ideas. They've been really, really good neighbors. They established, as you heard, our alpaca herd very quickly and then doubled it. And of all the farms I've been on around the world, I've never been in an alpaca stampede until these guys arrived. When Ann called me and said, they're out, and I ran down and they were coming down the drive, that flag lot. Yeah, right down. And fortunately, I stopped them before they got to the road and onto our property. And now they have horses, and this year they did some hay for the first time. So they're actively involved in agriculture. And they are doing it mostly themselves. And we know we do most of our work ourselves over on the farm. And it's a lot of work. And they're going to need help now and in the future, as we all will. So I hope you approve their variance. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for him?
No, I
ahead.
have quite a question. It appears that all of the neighbors, 7 of them, have been notified. We've received no objection from anyone, correct?
No.
There's a requirement for certified letters, yep.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else from the public? Without objection, we are closed to the public. Okay. Anyone have any more questions for our professionals? And I just want to circle back to the Board of Health and septic issues. If we were to approve this, would we make that a condition? How would we handle that? I
Yes.
just want to make,
Make it a condition of approval.
okay,
Yep, and to be reviewed by the board engineer.
okay. And is there anything else that we should consider?
I don't think so.
Think we need to get an exact number on the lot area, or you don't think that's shown on the survey with exactly how big that rear buildable area is, or just
So Rob and I
how
came,
far below the 20 it actually is?
yeah,
right?
Rob and I came to the conclusion that it's 4.5 acres.
Okay.
So
The flags then.
20 is required, and what is it, 21.7?
So, you want to say it's 17.3 plus or
So
minus?
wait, it's 21.768.
Is that the right of way taken out of there too? Or?
I measured it with the right of way taken.
How close to
Yeah,
it?
so it's 17.18 is the lot area.
Okay.
Do
So
we need to get anything about water flow, or I assume that it's good enough?
Well, the building's already there, so
you're talking about,
whatever
are you talking
it's-
about well capacity?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about runoff.
No,
No, they have to go to, get
Yeah,
something from the
they'll
Board
still
of
have
Health.
to get
that-
something from Board of Health.
Yeah.
for that.
We'll leave that for,
confirms it.
we'll leave that for Tracy.
So,
Anything else?
well and septic is Board of Health approval, and that'll be a condition, right?
Is there anything else, Sharon, that we
I
haven't
think
addressed?
we said something here about, I think that, I think it should, we'll note in the resolution that this can't be, used as a rental property, because it has to meet the conditions of the ordinance, so that'll be in there, and, I don't think it needs to be a separate condition,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. What does it, what happens in the situation when it's not a farm anymore and there's a property there? Does it have to be, like, what has to happen under the, is the ordinance silent? Is there,
It's gotta revert, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Removed or converted to other permitted accessory or conditional uses, or they would have to
cessation.
come back to this board for different
okay,
relief.
so,
So F says, the facilities shall be removed or converted to other permitted accessory or conditional uses upon the cessation of any farm operation. So it's in the ordinance that it.
so my only thing would be then I would wanna spell that out in the resolution.
Yeah.
Only because I don't want someone to be here 30 years from now saying, what was
Yeah.
the rule then? Cause we could've saved ourselves a lot of time.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Well, okay.
Assuming this is
I had
approved,
a-
I just wanna kinda
Yeah, I have
cover
that
all-
as a note to add as to number F, that should be as a, we'll just say it's a condition of approval, but we'll just acknowledge that
Reiterate.
it's in the
Yeah,
ordinance.
thank you.
Um, so, I don't,
Any other questions from the board? Anyone have anything?
I mean, I usually put standard conditions in a resolution, like all escrows have to be paid and
Yep.
any fees, that kind of thing, so that's gonna be in there, and, taxes are up to date, such, but, yeah.
Okay. Going once?
So, I'll,
Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve this, this use variance pending the conditions that our attorney just spelled out, orally here.
Okay. Anyone wanna second that? Okay.
Mr. Catenacci?
Yes.
Ms. Deadweiler?
Yes.
Mr. Kohut?
Yes.
Mr. Latham?
Yes.
Mr. McGovern?
Yes.
Ms. Wiggum?
Yes.
And Ms. Hussein?
Yes.
I just wanna say one thing, because, we're the only, the reason I see this being approved is I'm convinced that it's a farm use, and we're talking about a technicality, and I'm bringing that up because I don't want this to be like, oh, someone comes in with a similar situation, and it's not clearly a farm use, and it's not clearly we're talking a few acres, and I'm saying that for the, it doesn't need to be the resolution, I wanted to wait till after we taken the vote before I said it, but I just wanna make that clear.
And we've had experience.
Yeah, exactly, which is why I say it. Yes, which is why I say it. Okay, so the motion is adopted,
Thank you. Thanks very much.
and it is 8:30.
Oh my God.
And before we adjourn, let's see if there's anything else on this agenda. Actually, we need to be open to the public.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have one.
May I have a motion to open, motion to open to the public? I'm gonna wait for Katie for a second. Can you guys wait 5 minutes, cause we're gonna adjourn and then we need Katie back, okay. May I have a motion to open to the public?
Second.
Okay, without objection, we are open to the public for questions, comments, ideas, situations. Seeing nobody, we are closed to the public. Seeing nobody, we are closed to the public. May I motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That is an hour and 20 minutes.
I shouldn't say anything, should I?
No, we're done. Are we off the air?
Still see left the camera there.